Blowing stuff up is cool. Let's face facts. Done for entertainment purposes, it rules. Just look at Top Gear. Those guys blow something up nearly every episode. Why? Not for science, nuh-uh. For pure, unadulterated, big kid funsies, and the Red Faction universe has always tried to tap into this destruction-based appeal. The latest installment to the franchise, Red Faction Armageddon, takes place 50 years after the events of Red Faction Guerilla, and it sticks firmly to the third-person shooter style of its predecessor, rather than going back to the game's FPS roots. The Geomod engine, which has powered Red Faction's explosions since the dawn of time, has been upgraded by 0.5 this time around, and so Geomod 2.5 promises to deliver some of the most realistic structural damage in video gaming history. But does it live up to that promise? More on that later. But yes, it does. The meat and two veg of Armageddon is its story mode, which places you in the mining boots of Darius Mason, grandson of Alec Mason, the hero from Guerilla, an all-round stereotypical video game tough guy hero who is tricked into unleashing a plague of insectoid aliens by Adam Hale, a psychotic cult leader who drove the unlucky inhabitants of Mars deep underground when he sabotaged a planet's terraformer machine and made the surface pretty much uninhabitable. What a douche. Obviously, old Darius gets the blame for the alien attack and is soon fighting for his life against cultists, face-eating neon insecto beasts, and his old colonist buddies who want revenge for all the trouble he has caused. Unlucky, pussy! Still, all this conflict makes for a great excuse to indulge in a huge helping of demolition, and from the off the game throws you into one intense battle after another. The action hardly ever lets up, and as you fight through cut and paste locations against cut and paste bad guys, it's easy to start getting bored of the repetition. Luckily, there are a handful of vehicular missions to help break the game up and make the constant bug shooting slightly less monotonous than it actually is, but your only real chance for a breather between each tussle comes whenever one of the fun, but very cheesy cutscenes comes into play.
Hey, this old arc welder still work? Guess so.
I could have handled him.
Sure, but what I gave him he'll wake up from. Eventually.
The battles are so frequent, in fact, that because of the constant onslaught of enemies, you actually miss out on the freedom of just blowing up buildings. Sure, there are plenty of buildings to destroy under and on the surface, but the game's linear direction pulls you along at such a pace that being able to just experiment with blowing things up like you did in Guerilla becomes something of an afterthought. The destruction when you do it is of course great. The buildings tumble realistically, and it's always great fun to take out a bridge which is being crossed by several enemies, or bring down a building on the head of its sniper-tastic inhabitants. And part of the reason why all this is so awesome is the variety of cool, original weaponry that the developers Volition have included in Mason's arsenal. Standout weapons here include the magnet gun, which lets you turn whole buildings into weapons as you use the power of magnetism to fling them at your enemies, and the singularity cannon, which fires a mini black hole at your target. Anything in its range will be sucked into the centre and then blown to pieces as the singularity reaches critical mass and explodes. Each weapon seems to have been the product of many months' worth of planning to find the perfect weapons to take down buildings in the most visually spectacular ways possible, so it makes sense that the developers might have anticipated the problem of the player flattening everything in sight and being left trapped at the bottom of a pit with nothing to do. To combat this problem, they have equipped Mason with the Nanoforge, a wrist-mounted device which can restore damaged man-made items to their original form by firing millions of microscopic nanites which instantly repair anything they're aimed at. The Nanoforge can also be upgraded to give you almost Force-like powers. Impact, for instance, is similar to Force Push, which many of you might have used to push Wookiees off tree houses in Kashyyyk when you played as Darth Vader in Star Wars The Force Unleashed, and here it can be used to smash close quarters bad guys or bash through a stubborn obstacle. Kapow! Plus you can even use it to shield yourself and to provide a temporary burst of unlimited ammo and extra strength using the Berserk power-up. Played through on normal difficulty, Armageddon doesn't present too much of a challenge, but ramp up the difficulty a bit and the last couple of levels especially can be savage. A lengthy campaign means you will get a lot of playtime out of the title, and once complete you can unlock New Game Plus, which lets you start the story again with all your nano-forged powers and weapon unlocks carried over. Red Faction Armageddon isn't just a single player campaign though, it also features 2 other game modes, Infestation and Ruin Mode. While Ruin Mode is a good laugh as you tried to cause as much destruction as possible in a short time limit, this mode has a rather limited appeal and can get pretty boring very quickly. The only real incentive to keep at it is to beat the high scores, although I could imagine a round of Pass the Joypad with your mates during a boozy house party would be a good laugh. Infestation mode though is fast, frantic fun, and played online with 3 other mates is edge of your seat stuff. As in Gears of War's Horde mode, the difficulty ramps up as you progress through up to 30 waves of insectoids, and after wave 5 you really need to stick together and work as a team, providing backup and reviving fallen allies. The different types of aliens swarm in from the darkness and can quickly overwhelm you with their varied attack styles if you don't clear them out fast enough. As in the campaign, the aliens come at you in large numbers and the action can often get confusing and you won't know where a lot of the enemy fire is coming from. These little beasties jump around really quickly, so it's a good job your weapon has a handy auto lock-on feature. Press the left trigger and the weapon will automatically snap to the nearest enemy. Normally I class weapon lock-on as semi-cheating, but in this case it's a necessity when put up against such speedy foes. While the last game in the series wasn't linear enough and had you wandering around for ages between missions, this new instalment may prove to be slightly too linear instead of finding that happy medium. But as a popcorn no-brains action blaster, it certainly does the job. It's fun, you get cool weapons and you blow stuff up. Yes, it's linear, yes, it's samey, but did I have a great time playing it? Yes I did. It's not going to set the world on fire, but you know, it delivers good on all its promises and it will hold your attention from the beginning of the story right up to the end, and it even offers you a great multiplayer experience to boot. Plus there's a rainbow farting unicorn weapon. Seriously, what more could you want? Fricking genius.